Hello, hello. Hey, Chef Alton. And happy Wednesday afternoon. So it is time to work on world generation, I think. I have a change over here. I don't remember what this was. Oh, yeah, I was testing on lighting. I want to keep this. I used a negative directional light and a gradient. Maybe I'll stash this. Yeah, I'll stash this. Yeah, I didn't want first anyway. Yeah. Well, who would want that? How do you stash with a message? I think just dash M. Yeah, dash M message. Okay, dash M lighting in top-down shooter. Yeah, how do you Pressel? 135 stream streak. Didn't want first. You know, a third of the way through the stream, there'll be a 135.31 stream streak. Think about that. All right, get the world set up somehow. You're crashing our boss, make a series of rooms. Okay, so we got to have a room structure here. Oh, Pickle is coming in hot. 10 streams. That's more than 135. Hi, Pickle. Now, isn't that crazy? That is crazy. 135. All right, so how do I want to do this? We need a room. The room will have an environment. And that's pretty much it. I think we just swap this out then, right? Yeah, I think we just swap out a different environment. We need to know the bounds. I think we can set camera extents. I think I can do it the same way I did in the other game. Just did it for the points. Excuse me. Yeah, it's too bad you don't get the points just by hitting the milestones. You have to actually share them. That's too bad. All right, yeah, I'll go swap this out into a room. What do we even call this? Like first room or something? Test room. Rooms. Test room. Save. Okay. Then we go over here. We call this test room. So yeah, how do we want to do this? Because I need to practice the transitions between the rooms, and I got to think about that a little bit. You get it even if you don't show it? Oh, okay, gotcha. And hey, Chili. Happy 55 streams. Okay, so handling transitions means we need two rooms in the scene tree at a time, but one would get deleted. We also want both of those rooms to be paused, probably. Although maybe, yeah, yeah, probably that. So how do I want to do this? Node 2D. Let's have a current room. Actually, I should just call it like rooms node or something and put this in there. And this should be called test room. Okay. All right, we got a lot to figure out for this. Private node 2D. Rooms node equals null. Yeah, rooms node, sure. All right. So the first room that you get into should actually be a starter room. Maybe let's go make a starter room. I don't know. They should all follow the same general structure. They should probably inherit from the same scene as well. I guess I wouldn't have to. Is there a reason to make them inherit from the same scene so that we could pause certain nodes? Yeah, I think there is a reason. Hey, Matt. I like that we're not letting that message die. All right, so I'll call this base room. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do this. if we do make it a base room, we'd probably have the same tile map layers and we just change what's in them. But I'm just gonna pause everything for now. Yeah, let's not complicate this yet. How's your Wednesday going, Matt? All right. Yeah, let's go make a simple starter room. Call this starter room. And we'll add in the same tile map layers that we have here. And we'll just make it look slightly different somehow. Wait, no, the starter room probably doesn't have a transition off of it. Huh, I didn't actually think about this. No, maybe there shouldn't be any danger in this room. All right, so let's delete all of this. And just make it look like that. For now. Walls, yeah, there should probably be walls on the boundaries of this. Wait, so these tiles don't align correctly? With the viewport? I guess not. I think it's okay if there's a little bit of scrolling though. So wall, we do that. No, this is not what I want. Godot wall? There's nothing even there. What is this? That. Okay, got it. All right, so I want to put this like so. I just want there to be boundaries here. I guess we only need a boundary that's like 1 wide. Yeah, there we go. Okay, delete all of this. And then set up something like this. All right, now we need a transition region here. So here's our small room that we have. It's day 43.5. Did I mess something up? What am I missing, Sarah? Is this just the half notation? Pretty good, pretty good. Have built a monolith API to migrate some systems to, but haven't been able to switch everything yet. Had some skills to generate the boilerplate for endpoints and set the LLM on making it happen to create all missing endpoints. Working surprisingly well in the background. Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, I worked on something kind of cool. I don't think I showed you this earlier. I don't think you were here. Well, I can't easily show it now, but I have pictures of it at least. But yeah, we have these graphics for the platformer character. And I had AI make a way to recolor the sprites. So depending on what mask we draw, like you see the difference in the hair color up here, it'll pick a palette color down here based on the hair color up here. It's a little bit confusing to explain. But the end result is you'd be able to customize your colors in the game. So yeah, I think it was pretty neat. Hey Goose, what was for lunch? I had some noodles that my wife made before she left. Not like separated, just went on a trip. Yeah, so I think I want to incorporate this into the game. There are a couple things I was thinking about. One is if you just look at what you might want to recolor in this graphic, there's the hair for sure. There's probably eyes, skin, shirt, maybe the shirt accent color, and the boots, right? I don't think we're going to allow you to customize these sorts of things. I think 4 colors seems like enough, right? So like your eye color is just going to be green, and so what? Because otherwise, I feel like we're going to have a color that it's really, if you look at it, it's modifying what, 4 pixels? Yeah, literally 4 pixels. So like we could put in an eye color. Is that too much? And then what happens for non-human sprites? All right, let's say you're a tank in one of these games. Can we really figure out how to make 5 colors work? You probably have like 3 or something. Do you need a mask for your frame? Yes, which is what's kind of tedious about this. So it generated the mask for now, but it's not a perfect job. And I can't show how it's not perfect because I don't have the thing set up yet or anymore. Yeah, so there's still some things I need to work through for this. I think it's gonna add a lot of work to the game. All right, so we're making this starter room. Yeah, let's just do this for now. So there needs to be a way to transition between them though. Starter room. The starter room is going to need a script. So when you die and come back to the starter room, we need to know that you die. Keep track of how many times you died in the save system. When you come back to the starter room, it should, or like first time in starter room, tell you about moving and firing. Second time in starter room, tell you about how you suck. Tell you about how you need to get better. And the upgrades are temporary. Yeah. Sounds like the architect at work for sure. Yeah, I think the game needs to tell the player how good they are or aren't, excuse me. All right, so top-down shooter. Let's go over to here and add in a camera, which we don't already have. Camera 2D. Camera. Private camera 2D. Camera, no. Whoop. Well, it was trying to work. There we go. All right, we need this to be able to set the bounds, which I'll figure out later. It should follow the player though. So let's go find out where we do that in other games. Camera dot position. Yep, here we go. So just put this in here. We don't have a physics process. Let's go override one. Good. And good. All right, so if we just start up the game now, we'll have the same room we had before, but now the camera's going to move around such that it's always following you. I actually don't want that to be the case. And that's now a problem. And there's something over here. Overridden the physics process due to use of physics interpolation. Yeah. So let's set that there. Physics process. All right. So where do we do create floating text? We set its global position equal to the position that was passed in. And this should now be global position, I guess. Not actually certain that that's the problem here. And then we need to change how the camera moves and everything. No, that's still breaking. Because we're in screen space for this, right? Yeah. How did I turn this into world space? Get position of object in screen space. No, I want it to be in the world space though. Yeah, strange. What am I missing here? We create the player's global position. We add this thing and then set its global position. The floating text itself doesn't have a position on the label, does it? It does, but that's because of the anchor. Maybe I shouldn't do that. But I'm not certain that that's a problem. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. We're adding it to... Man, why when I click this scene does it go into Rider? Gotta figure out why that's happening. So player's just here, and then the floating text node is here. Oh, because it's in the canvas layer. Oh, whoops. Okay, we got to put it in the world layer. Yeah. Okay, got it. All right, so just move this over here, for example, and we should just be fine. Yeah, I think we should just be fine. We actually probably want it like there. Yes, I am able to think about things. All right, is that better? Yes, it is. Cool. All right, next up, Camera has a bunch of things about position smoothing and limits and drag. So all of this is stuff I want to do. I'm just not sure how exactly you control this. So let's turn on position smoothing. Let's turn on both of these. What is this? Relative horizontal drag offset between -1 and 1. Why not? Let's do the 0.5. Yeah. I don't think any of this is going to work though, because I'm just setting the position directly, right? How does that? Hmm. Yeah, I got to figure out how you're supposed to use this. Blast it. Blast. Can I outrun this? I think we're moving at exactly the same speed. I just need a couple more green potions so I get some movement speed. There. Try and catch me now. All right, so this is not doing what I wanted to do. I don't know how you're supposed to use this though exactly. Godot, camera, drag, follow, player. It's curve property on. That's all you need for a camera. I just want to find out how camera drag works. Where's their documentation? Here it is. All right, what does it say at the top? Symbol helper doesn't represent the actual position of the screen. All right, so where do we learn about drag? Bottom margin needed to drag the camera. Value of 1 makes it move only when reaching the bottom edge of the screen. So what is this offset? Relative horizontal drag offset of the camera between the right and left margins. Use to set the initial horizontal drag offset, determine the current offset, or force the current offset. It's not automatically updated. Oh, I think I get it. This is what it was already set to. So like I want to change these. So if I set this to 0.5 on all of these, it means you need to be very close to the edge for it to move, I think. Yes, but am I like moving up the screen right now? I can't tell. But yeah, this is probably a little bit better. I need to make myself invincible. Actually, this makes it so we don't really need to change the lighting because you can't tell where you're going. You probably want the other direction, right? Like 0.2. Hmm. Let me get some more movement here too. Just gonna get every power up. I just want to test out the camera. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Great. Okay. So if I move over here, we are, if the midpoint of the screen is like right here, yeah, we're about, I guess, 20% to the left. And that's what this thing should control. So if we were to set the right margin to, let's say, a very high number, 0.7, we need to be pretty far to the right before it starts scrolling. So this would make it really hard to tell what you're about to come up against. But yes, this is working how I want it to work. Although, yeah. So I don't know what numbers these should be. I guess we'll just play it by ear. Yeah, I think you should be able to move, yeah, like this. You can move around the screen and not have it pan the camera until you get to a certain part of it. I think that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, this feels right. Ooh, I got a potion. Really like the movement speed in this. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Still pathing toward you during death animation. That's intentional. I wanted them to. It reminds me of Crocomire from Super Metroid, if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, this thing would die and then still chase after you, just to spook the player a little bit. And I get that the stakes aren't that high in this game, but still, I like the idea of it. All right, so we need to clamp camera boundaries to the room size. We have code in the farm for this. We need to trigger a transition when you leave through a door. Yeah. And then make the starter room have power-ups in crates. And yeah, room philosophy. Limit vertical scrolling so that players know to go to the right. And then randomly pick a second room. And then figure out what we're doing with monsters. First room is always starter room. Is that what I called that? Starter room, yeah. Randomly pick a new room that is different from the prior one and not starter room. Yeah. Allow transitioning. Just scroll the screen. We'll have to mess around with that for a little bit. Keep track of how many times you died in the save system. Yeah, okay. All right, so this is looking pretty good. Let's check in what I've done so far, which is just to add in a camera. We also have this rooms node, but we don't use it yet. But I'm just keeping that there. Yeah. All right, so add camera to top-down shooter. I also added a rooms node, but I'm not using it yet. I needed to move floating text instances to a node 2D in the scene rather than being in a canvas layer so that they would move with the camera. Check it all in. And then, yeah, maybe there's a final room. Add a final boss. Maybe it's huge, summons other enemies constantly, and does a ton of damage. It could even have a health bar above its head. The enemies it summons could drop potions, so you could get stronger during the fight. Yeah. All right. So clamp camera boundaries. Let's go take a look at how I did this. The farming game has some way of doing this. Camera. Apply camera limits for current zone. So how do we do this? Camera bounds. And what set this? Cache camera bounds. We got the ground layer rectangle that was used. Huh. Okay. Yeah, we can do the same thing here, but this does imply that they should inherit from a similar scene or like the same base scene. And I did not do that. So they'd all have to have the same like a floor node, which I don't know how this works exactly. Like if I have a tile map layer in the base scene, can I just override it? I guess we can test this. I could call this base room and then add in, well, not even add in, just copy paste. Copy paste the floor layer. And then save this base room. And then make a new scene. Did that crash? It crashed. Wasn't that fun? All right, new scene. Click this button. Go over to top-down shooter rooms, base room. Yeah, so now here we have a derived room. And yes, we have a floor graphic here. If I were to start adding some random tiles, so let's say click this and draw on some books or whatever, and then save this as derived room, does base room get modified? No, it doesn't. So if I do this and save, okay, no, this is great. Yeah, this is exactly what I want. All right, so this is probably what we should do then. So delete derived room. This doesn't matter. Show in file system, delete. But yeah, I need the starter room to inherit from this. So I guess in base room, let's go copy over. I mean, this is a mess. I'm not going to do a lot here. So yeah, this will be called floor. We'll do that. I don't think we need the walls. And then, oh, the floor isn't even the floor. Oh, no. What have I done? Great. All right, I guess walls is really the floor. All right, I'm gonna call this floor. And then, yeah, great. Walls. Sure. So now starter room should inherit from this. So we need to delete what we have. As long as it looks exactly identical to this. Yeah. And then go make a new scene. Instantiate base. Call this star. Oh, it crashed again. It's crashing quite a lot. All right, call this starter room. And then we had a test room. I mean, this is not, who cares? Just delete this. But we do need a new, yeah, this is already used. This is used over here. All right, well, let's just delete that. And we should just dynamically create the room anyway that you're going to be in. So get rid of this one too. Delete. And just make a random second room. It doesn't matter. God, that's going to crash every time, isn't it? At least it doesn't crash when you come back into the game and do it again. All right, so this is going to be called like basic room. I don't know. Doesn't matter. And we just need something to look different here. So in the floor graphic, we have this terrain. Let's just draw something else. Maybe make it wider. Let's do one of these. Actually, let's make it a little bit taller too. Let's do that. And we might want to know where their spawn position is. We could just position them. Oh, yeah, we probably do need another spawn position. We probably need to know the player's spawn position in the new room, which means keeping a node in the base scene and storing its position and like fetching its position when we transition. It might look like they're moving to a completely different section. Maybe we just align the room that you're at to where the player currently is. The room itself would actually be relocated so that your player's Y coordinate doesn't change, just their X coordinate. All right, so now we just fix some walls. This is really hard to see. Can you change the default color here? Yeah, it's just really, really tough. What am I doing? There. Okay, so I do this, this, and that. All right, I think that's good. But like I said, it's practically impossible to tell because I can't change the color. Or maybe I can, I just don't know how. Yeah. I guess if we turn off the floor, it's more obvious. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so basic room. So we have a base room, which now needs a script. This should be moved up. Top-down shooter. Yeah, base room, sure. All right, so when you first get into this game, we need to create the starter room. Create starter room. This is not going to happen here. I guess the room contains the monsters, so we initialize them per room. That makes a lot more sense. Although if you want them to show on top of the player, then you need to... You need to have a player node in the room. Like the room would take ownership of the player. Actually, in this particular case, we just put them exactly where it is because it's already below the room thing in the scene hierarchy. Yeah, so let's just copy paste all these over into basic room. Oh, wait, we can't. Right, that's what I'm saying. How would we do this then? Hey, we can change our Z index. I don't think that's the best solution here, though. But yeah, I'd like base room to have a monsters node. What am I doing? Just don't save. Node 2D. Monsters node. Monster node. Excuse me. All right, so then in basic room, we paste all these in. And then I guess drag them to the side. They can collide with walls, so I do need to make sure that they're within the walls. I'm not going to do that right now, though. Starter room will not have any monsters. So now top-down shooter doesn't need monster node. Or we reparent them into this scene. That could work. Let's not think about that too much right now. Yeah. So base room has a ready. We get the monster node. We initialize with the player. I guess you can't do this unless we initialize the room. Player, top player. Yeah. And this would be virtual. Now, when they die, on monster died, we create an upgrade and we drop it into the game. I think that's fine. I think that just means that the room needs to tell the game when a monster dies. Alternatively, we just don't have this logic here at all. And we dig into where the monster's node is. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about ownership of these types. So yeah, for now, let's just do something simple. Event action on, or yeah. Monster died. All right, so in this case, we have this. Monster died, invoke. Cool. All right, now over here, we need to set up the first room. Instantiate. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of boilerplate for getting this set up. Starter room. I guess just a base room. Rooms, starter room. All right, its position can just be 0, 0, but then where we add it is in the rooms node. And then we initialize it with the player. So that's going to set up all the monster logic. We also want it to be paused eventually. So if I were to start this right now, oh, there won't be monsters. What am I talking about? If I start this right now, we should just see like a gray rectangle pretty much. Inside of a border, yeah. And then I think we want to set the camera dot horizontal offset to, okay, how does this work? To like 0.7? I don't think that makes sense. Yeah, I don't think this makes sense. Because as soon as I move, it's going to reset what it was. Oh, wait, no. I just haven't set the limits of the camera. Yeah. Ignore this. All right. And then we do need to hook up the room to on monster died. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So the next thing I think we need to do, yeah, clamp camera boundaries. Let's go do that. Yeah, and this is why I had done this. We cache the camera bounds. Why do we have to cache these? Because at any point you can come back to the room. That's not going to work in this game. Once you go through the door, you can't go left again. Prevent going left through the door you entered. I don't want you to be able to backtrack. So we don't need to cache these because we only use this once, right? Set of invisible boundaries. Oh, because you can dig through the walls in the other game. How fun. Okay, so how does this work? Apply camera limits for current zone. So applying limits based on a rectangle sounds like a nice function that we should make. And camera extensions, if we don't already have it. Hey, Franken. Camera. Oh, we do have camera extensions. Nice. All right, so let's copy paste this up to there. And I don't know what we call this function. Apply camera limits. So we pass in a rectangle, I guess. Or maybe like set limits. And taking a rectangle. And this would be from the bounds that we have. It's a rect 2D. So we get the rectangle here and then just do everything the way we normally do it. Yeah, there. And what's going on with that? Oh, come on. It's Godot. Where is this? What am I doing wrong here? Oh, it's a 2, not a 2D. Hopping on and off, relaxing to see you work. At least I get relaxed from it, which is nice. Yeah, you know, I have this idea in my head. I think this is why grit is such an important tenet. I want to do more, and I recognize that game dev is pretty much equal to time and grit. And then I'm actually doing work and I feel a couple of things like I want my camera off. I want to just like laze around. I don't mind talking so much, but there are bright lights in this room and yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I just don't feel like looking presentable. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think this is just what grit is all about. Just getting through it. But yeah, I do feel like we're making progress. Did I call this set limit? No, set limits. And then we just need to, why is it not working? Why isn't this working? It's an extension method here. We pass in this bounds out value. Whoa, I said it's a private somehow. I don't know how I did that. Oh, I copy pasted the original private function. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so now this isn't needed. And then we could make something like set limits to an integer. I don't know if we ever even hit this logic. But sure, let's do this. All right. And replace all of this with just the word limit, except for that's lowercase. And then call this here camera dot set limit default limit. Now, what's the problem with this? Limits, excuse me. Set limit is a function that already exists. That's probably not a good idea. What does this do? Maybe I should call it set all limits. Yeah, I think that's a better name. Set all limits. Whoa, what? Rename all overloads. Yeah, set all limits. All right, now there's a clean looking function. In fact, we can make this a little bit cleaner and just do, we can just do this. We can just switch this to a ternary, actually. It should detect that I can do that too, right? It doesn't. That's okay. Bounds dot has value question mark that. Otherwise. Oh, no, you can't do this because it's calling two different. Okay, I see. At least I don't think you can do this. That doesn't work, right? Yeah, because it would have to be a single function that it's trying to call, but it doesn't know which function to dispatch to until checking the parameter types. There might be a way to do this. It doesn't matter. This is fine. In fact, what we could have done is this way, I suppose, which I don't want to do. Because this technically has a return value, doesn't it? Only assignment call. Yeah. So I don't care. If statement's fine. Could also have probably used a switch for this, but yeah. Still watch if webcam is off. You're mostly off screen anyways. Yeah, a lot of people said, though, that it would detract from the stream. And I generally agree. I mean, from a viewer perspective, like, what do you care what I have to go through? It's just you don't want to see when you are watching. I make it sound like it's some big trial. It's not. All right, so I feel pretty good about this. I want to set this. We'll always have these bounds. And in base room, this is where we'll do this. Once this gets initialized, actually, the important part is figuring out the bounds, right? Yeah, that's where the real money comes from. Felt bad for you when you weren't solving the crash problem? Yeah, I don't know if you saw the update. I always forget who's in chat at any particular time that I mentioned something. But yeah, someone else left a comment here just yesterday with a deep dive into this. Wait, when did they edit this? All 16 hours ago, yeah. Yeah, so they looked into this. Yeah, hopefully there's enough detail here now for someone who works on Godot to go tackle this. And at the very least, they pretty much use the same workaround that I used. So they call, where is it? Here, yeah. GC collect and GC wait for pending finalizers. I think that's pretty much the same stuff that I used. Yeah, GC collect, GC wait for pending finalizers. So I think we should be okay. I don't worry about that when I'm laying in my bed. Are you typically doing something else as you watch? Like playing a game or something? All right, so we need the ground layer here. Private. Actually, we only really fetch this from one spot, right? Do I want to cache these? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. Ground layer global position plus used rectangle dot position times tile size. Tile size here. That should probably come from the ground layer. Adam watch instead. Yeah, I can't. I'll sometimes just watch like Redbeard play Hearthstone, and I'm not doing anything else on the side, and that's entertaining enough for me. Although I'm so used to watching on YouTube that like every once in a while when there's a predictable set of plays, I'm like, I want to speed this up. But yeah, I could not imagine watching a coding stream as like my main thing. Most of the time doing some administrative stuff for coding. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I think it's a good companion stream. And I know some people used to watch paying like a decent amount of attention and commenting on things, and it's been helpful. It's just people don't usually stay in that situation for a while. Order lol. Miss Lethal. No, I find that he generally makes pretty sensible plays. Watch for 10 to 15 minutes without addition or with addition, and then mostly on the background. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the fun things about watching game dev is seeing it through distinct milestones. So if you were to watch, let's say 30 days ago when I didn't even have probably a title screen or something, and then you watch 30 days from now where we're on a completely different game. Hey, Sophmeyer. Feels like I'm not alone. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Okay, Pickle. Yeah. With attention. Okay, yeah. Gotcha. I took it to mean that even though I wasn't totally sure what addition had meant there. Do I want to make a generic function out of this? Because everything is just based on the ground layer and the tile size therein. And the tile size could be fetched from the ground layer, I'm pretty sure. Tile size equals ground layer dot. Is there a tile size? I don't know. Tile size physics. No. There's something in here that lets you change this. It's apparently in the tile set, which is fine. We can fetch that. I just want to make sure. I know there's a number here. Yeah, there it is. Tile size. Okay. So that's what we want to do. So tile set dot size. And it's a vector 2i. So this wouldn't work if we do this, right? Oh, no, it does. Okay, good. Now, why do we cast these to vector 2s? We don't need to. All right, so now I think we have a generic function. Given a tile map layer, we can get the camera bounds. Yeah. Do we have tile map extensions? No, we don't. Okay, let's go make that. All right, we are making some pretty good progress now. All right, so add a class. We'll call this tile map layer extensions. And then go copy paste all of this. Well, maybe just like that. Oh, God. Okay, let's try that again. There. Great. Now this becomes tile map layer. And then we delete this and this. And paste in this function. And it's camera bounds. So what does camera bounds return typically? Let's be public. It is a rect2 get camera bounds. Perfect. We have done it. All right, return. Can we just say new here? I think we can. Now it wants you to put that in. And then this takes in the tile map layer. Tile map layer. Yeehaw. All right, extensions must be declared in a top level, non-generic, static. Yep, whoops. All right, cool. Now we plug that in over here. So we say simply camera bounds equals ground layer dot this. Whoops, that was supposed to say get camera bounds. And all of this was so that we can do this from our new game. So we have base room over here. And when we initialize this, we want to public rect2 get camera bounds. Return floor layer. Should we just call it ground? We don't even have the floor layer though. So private tile map layer, floor layer. Yep. Go fetch this. Hopefully it's called floor layer. It is not. This is why I check this stuff. And then we need the extension. And we need to call this. So when we initialize the room, we also want to do camera.set all limits, starter room dot get camera bounds. Okay, there it is. Let's try that out. So now you should not be able to see outside of the walls. Nice. Now there's one tiny issue, which is that this does not perfectly align with the size of the screen. So there's a tiny bit of scrolling up and down. We could probably get rid of that, maybe. Let's try. Just shrink this by one tile. So delete all of that. And do one of these. Why is that not working? What am I doing wrong? There we go. And then shrink the walls in as well. What am I doing here? I don't know if this is going to work. But yeah, let's try it. All right, so now I hit play. So now I'm hoping it's centered on the screen. I think it should be. That's what happened in the farming game, right? No, it's not centered. Wait, is it not centered? I cannot tell. This is way too dark. I need some like bright pink tile in here. I literally cannot see this. All right, so let's put that there and that there, and that'll make it obvious now. Okay, it does actually look centered. Now, I guess the true test is just shrink this even more. Right, if I cut out this layer, and then hit play, now it'll be obvious. Yeah, it's definitely centered. So you can't go outside of the bounds here. Oh no, you definitely can't. Oh wait, you can go outside in the pink area because I just accidentally, not accidentally, but I just drew that hastily. And over here, you have to go down to this part. Okay, yeah, that's pretty reasonable. All right, so then we can shrink this a little bit. I think we should go back to what we had originally, like this. I think this is good because that way there is no vertical scrolling in the starter room. And actually, if we're going to do this, what we should also probably consider is maybe not having horizontal scrolling even in this room. Like, this is a lot of walking just to get to the door. Well, there would be a door here. The only thing I'm kind of worried about there is I don't know how the transition is going to look if you're... Well, let's just try it. So just, where's the blue end there? All right, let's do this. And, well, we'd shrink in the walls as well. I'm not going to do that yet because I don't know if this will look all right. Yeah, so this would be the boundary that you get to, which means this is where the door would be. So I guess then we would transition the other room sliding over. I'm picturing a Link to the Past style transitions between the screens. Although we don't have to do it that way. There's another idea that I have here that we could do. We could darken the entire other room. And when you hit the threshold, we open a door, we lighten the new room, you walk through, we darken the old room, and then change the camera boundaries. No, that probably wouldn't work because then it'll center the camera bounds there. I mean, we could just keep the old room there too. Alternatively, we don't even need to have transitions. What am I talking about? We could just chain together a bunch of rooms, right? Yeah. Why am I making this way harder than it has to be? Who cares if you backtrack? It may be better to simply link a bunch of rooms together. To make the camera boundaries harder to work with. Yeah. We would probably have an end point for left room and well, I guess we'd have start and end points for each room so that they know how to connect. This tutorial is so broken. That's a great idea. This developer didn't care. Yeah, so here's what I'm thinking for my new idea. And this should hopefully simplify things. So we have this rooms node. We go and instantiate in a starter room. And then we also instantiate in the next room, which we're calling basic room, I guess. And put this here. Why can't I seem to do this? There. All right, then we move this whole thing over to the side. So it basically look like that. There'd be a door between the two. I guess enemies wouldn't aggro you until the room is actually active. Why is this causing like a billion errors? Oh yeah, sure. And yeah, we just stack on a bunch of rooms. It would work. Yeah, it would work. I mean, at that point, are we even benefiting from this process? It's like planning a Wi-Fi deployment. Well, these are access point monsters, and you're going to need repeater monsters and guess the SSID at the end. How's it going, pre-technic? Yeah, so I guess the randomness of the rooms would be important so that it doesn't feel exactly the same every time. Although at that point, don't we just want different rooms? I think having to just work from left to right makes this simpler for the player. Only very slightly stressed about our big monthly release branching next week. Well, you got done with all the June first week bugs, of which there was one. That's got to count for something, right? Oh, yearly release branching next week. Okay, never mind. Well, you got done with all your 2025 first month problems, right? There, saved. Yeah, the randomness of the rooms would be important so it doesn't feel exactly the same every time. Yeah, I think this is it. This is important. So, does it matter that they're just in a line? No, I don't know. Yeah, we'll just have to test it out. Looks like floor plans. Yeah, it does look like floor plans. I often feel like I'm developing a game without it being a game, or it gets really tight toward the end. Yeah, there's crunch time in a lot of industries. I think software in general does tend to have it. All right, I could see this working. So yeah, we pretty much just need a connection point in each room, and then we just link them together. So like if there's a door up here and there's a door down here, then we link it like that. So now you enter this room, and I guess the camera has to shift though. So based on the room you're in, we change the camera boundaries. It would make walking through the door look really strange. This is why I wanted to just do things with portals here or something. We just don't have a portal graphic. But if you could just teleport or you go down a staircase or something into the next room, then we could just like fade out, fade back in. That'd be the easiest. I think it'd look weird if we change the camera boundaries. Hey, Strawn. I'll get blamed for delays. I have to be ready for anything. Yeah, it doesn't sound fun. Yeah, I still don't know how I want to connect the rooms. I have camera boundaries set for each room, but transitioning between them is weird because rooms may be different sizes. So like when you walk from here into here, you're now at the bottom of the screen. So the camera would shift. You'd originally be looking like this, where the edge of the screen is here. You walk into that, and then all of a sudden you'd be over here. So we'd have to like slide the player all the way across the screen. And we could do that. We could like compute the new boundaries, and I think it's going to be a pain. And I want to simplify this because that's kind of the whole point of making so many of these games. Like they shouldn't all look perfect. It's going to take too much time to do that. So I want something that's kind of good enough here. And what I keep going back to is the graphics that we have here. You want to avoid having an outside. I just want to avoid putting in too much work into what we're doing for this. Like I want randomly generated rooms and I want for them to connect. I guess one thing we could do is we could just always connect them from the center of the room. Like you always leave through the middle center of this wall and you always enter through the middle center of, or the middle of this wall, yeah. Yeah. We could just make it so that you always enter through the vertical center of each wall. Hey, Funky Monkey. But still, I think it would be perfect here is just, imagine like Link to the Past dungeon staircase. What I'm picturing is something where, yeah, like this. Like you just leave off the bottom of the screen and it just fades out and fades back in and you're on the next screen. We don't have those graphics. Maybe we just Quickie Joe just draws a portal graphic for this. Or just use the portal graphic we have. Like you always enter a room like this, and then there's a portal. You walk into the portal, and it takes you into the next room. Fade out, fade back in. You're in a new room. Hey, stats. You have ladders. Yeah, but we don't have ladders disappearing into nowhere. They only go up these walls, right? I need something that looks like it's an obvious exit point. And the only thing we have are doors, and doors let you just see through where they're going. Hey, web dev. All right, well, I got to take a break. Yeah, I don't know what to do for this. We'll think about it when I get back. Still need to figure out how you'll transition between rooms. You have a link with a layout? Yeah. It is right there. All right, I'll be back in a little bit. Also, hey, Initial. Probably constantly thinking of new game ideas when you're working on a project. No, you'll never get around to it. Yeah. I think it's good to just write them all down. All right, is it jump time? It's jump time. Hello again. Hey, Tycon. Close the game. Oh, that break went by very quickly, I feel. Close the game. So yeah, Initial, I don't know if you're still there, but I do recommend, like, I have just a game ideas note. And pretty much every time I come up with something, I write it in there. And then at some point, I look through that note and see what game is worth tackling next. And that's what led to this game. That's what led to Skeleseller. Yeah. I think one of the worst things you can do is come up with what you think is a good idea and then do nothing with it. Like writing it down is the like bare minimum. And that way you don't ever have to act on it. But like if you have an epiphany or you have some inspiration and then a few days pass, you'll probably forget about it. And then that's it. You'll just be like, wait, I remember having a good idea, but I don't remember what it was. So yeah, I think you should at least write it down. But I think maybe the spirit of the question is like, how do I avoid the siren song of working on a new project? And yeah, I think this is just grit and discipline and determination. But I don't know for sure if that's what you're asking. All right, so yeah, we left off with this. I mean, ideally, I want to fade to black and open up in the new zone. And we could do that even with a door there, right? Like we could have a door over here and you walk through it. You just like go out into the ether, the screen fades to black, it fades back in, and you're on the other side. I think that's probably the easiest thing to do. Sounds like the easiest plan. So it sounds like what we should do. You walk through a door, it fades to black, it fades back in, and you're in the new room. Yeah. The camera will be in a different position. I don't know. That sounds like a plan to me. Let's just do that. If it feels terrible, then fine, we can try to switch. But let's see how it feels first. For another overscope project. Yeah. Problems not ideas or remembering. Mine is doing them all. I think that's everyone's problem. And this is the whole part of being a finite entity. You will never be able to do every single thing in the world. So you've got to pick what you want to do and what you don't want to do. Idea hits, you just click record and speak into a mic. I mean, that's pretty much what we already have, right? You got your phone. You could just say like, "Oh, remind me in 6 years." I came up with this idea. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. So let's see here. We got the starter room. We need some endpoint here. I'm gonna pull this from where we did this in zone transition region. This I think is inside the farming game right now. Yeah, it is. But it's literally just a collision shape with an event, right? No, it takes in a farming player. I wonder if we can make this generic. Also, it only handles cardinal directions. Okay, never mind. So we want some region where when you enter. No, we need to know what direction you're facing. Okay, I have an idea. All right, let's try to actually make this look decent over here. Where are the doors and everything? Doors, door one. I guess a double door? What is front? Okay, no, I definitely don't want that. Yeah, this sort of thing. You wouldn't be able to see this though, because it'd be off the screen, right? So you'd have to put floor on the right side of this, which might not connect to the next place. So it's like blank floor. Click through 10 buttons to find record. Wait, but for real, like I will frequently say something like, I have to just hold the power button, I think, and then say, remind me in 10 minutes to take out the trash or whatever. So I do recommend that workflow. I don't think it's the best for writing on ideas, but yeah, you could have it remind you about them. All right, so yeah, how will you see this? I don't know. Let's just go plug it in. So double door. It was annoying you? Wow, huh, interesting. All right, double door side. So yeah, you'll come in through something like this. Should you have to shoot the door open or just get close to it? Maybe just get close to it, but how would you know that this is a door to the next place if it's closed? Is it obvious enough that it's a door? It's pretty obvious, yeah. Plus, you're only moving from left to right. And also, we can make it open when you get close. I'd like to show the doors though, but yeah, anyway, whatever. All right, let's go make a new scene. So we'll call this door. And add in an animated sprite. And quick load in double doors. Oh, whoops. I meant like that. All right, so assets, sprites, world, dungeon, door. All right, how big is this? 48 by 48. 48 by 64. Yeah, it can't really just be the whole thing. 128. Yeah, that's pretty good. Click. So we do not want to autoplay this and we don't want to loop it. But let's take a look at how that is. Probably a little faster. Probably a little slower. Yeah, that's pretty good. Wait, why is it closing? Oh, I hit ping pong. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so save this as door. Then inside the starter room, we don't want this to be super wide, so I guess let's go change that. Good. Then we want a door in here. Sure. Should connect to a wall. And we could delete the wall from under here. Yeah, it's not going to look perfect. That's fine. Every room would have a door, right? No, I guess not. But most of them would. So I'd probably put this in the base scene. Well, let's not worry about that for now. Maybe we do worry about that for now. I don't know. Yeah, base room. Add in a door. All right, so now starter room cannot have the same thing. And there we go. All right. Let's go fetch that. We need a script for it, I guess. Yeah. Top-down shooter, door, open, great. All right, so this has an animated sprite 2D. We call this sprite. Private animated sprite. So I'm going to fetch the sprite. We're going to use its animation, play it once when you get close to it to open it. So there's got to be like an opening region nearby. And I guess it'd just be to the left of the door somewhere. So we could add in an area 2D here, collision shape. And yeah, have it just be somewhere to the left of the door. Like that. Sure. Okay, so this is considered part of the world and it collides with the player, like so. Perfect. So this is the opening region. So now we go get that too. Area 2D opening region. There. And then on body entered. If body is top-down shooter player, then we do sprite.play open. Make this a string name. All right, so there's our door. We should just be able to run this. So now when we walk into the door, it's gonna open and then that's it. It's not gonna do anything. We won't be able to go anywhere. That's pretty cool. Unfortunately, we walk on top of it. So we definitely need Y sorting. We also, it looks like one of those frames is kind of messed up. I think it's just how they do the skewing effect. So I don't think there's anything we can do about that. Yeah, I think it's that. It looks a little blurry, but it's just, this is how it's drawn. That's okay. Yeah, so we got to fix Y sorting. Oh, well, and we should only play it once. Private bool is open. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need to make sure nothing wacky happens here with Y sorting. I guess we just give it collision. It's like here you'd be walking behind it. Yeah, we just give it collision. And it only needs collision when it's open because you can't ever walk into it when it's closed. So yeah, right around here, you would have exited this. So like even just getting to this point, we consider you to now be through the door. So this is the opening region. Then we add a new one here for transition region. And this should just be a completely different shape. I don't really know what this should look like unless we stop it in the open position. There we go. All right, so now anywhere in like here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Put this back to how it was. All right, so that's the opening region. So on body entered opening region. And then we have the, what's the other one called? Transition region. There. Okay. Copy paste that. Transition region. Why is it not working? And if it's a player, then walked through dot invoke. Perfect. Public event action. All right, so base room would listen for this and propagate this upward. So the base room has a door. Door equals get node door. Well, get node or null. It might not have a door. And then if door is not null, door dot walked through plus equal. So the room needs to emit it back up to here. Finished room. Sounds good to me. On walked through door. Or on walked through entrance. Wait, no, on what? It's the exit. On exited. On walked through door. How about that? And we just call this exited. Yeah. Now we call into that function. Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. I hope it helps, Sean. I think it's amazing. I have it remind me of things all the time, and that's probably my most frequent usage of it. Is something like, "Oh, remind me on Saturday. I need to call this person," or yeah, the typical like household chores or just something. My wife might tell me something, and I'm busy at the time, so I'm like, "Oh, remind me in 20 minutes to follow up on that thing." Uninitialized. Okay. So exited is now something the game will handle. So create starter room. Starter room dot exited plus equal on exit starter room. This should eventually be made generic. Not gonna worry about that yet. Yeah, on the phone is nice. Yeah. All right. So to do, create a new room, fade to black, initialize everything, fade back in, free the old room. All right, let's go do that. This is going to be like next room is going to be basic room. This one's going to have enemies in it. We add it to the node. We initialize it. We set this up. We set this up. Do all that stuff. Now we do create tween. Didn't I make a tween function for this? No, I didn't. Oh, okay. Process mode physics. Okay, so we're gonna do fade out over the course of like half a second. Existing tween is this. Then we fade in. And in between, we create the new room. Hey, Filler, how you doing? How have your months off been? New game's going pretty well. I can show you some of the progress once I work through some of this code. We've worked through a couple of different sub games, and we're on a top-down shooter now. All right, so tween callback. I definitely made something for this. Yeah, here it is. All right, so we make the next room. And then free the old room, which we don't even keep a reference to at this point. So I guess we get the existing room. Existing room equals rooms node dot get child 0. And then tween callback free. All right, let's see if this even works. Can't complain. Wife and I are currently planning a 3 to 6 month sabbatical in Brazil, Europe, and Japan. Nice. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, so we only just started this sub game on Monday, but yeah, we have a little character that can move around and shoot, and there are all these sorts of power ups that you can get. They're not going to all be in a circle like this. Also, my God, this controller gets so slow when you try moving down and to the right. So like now I can fire a little bit faster. I can move a little bit faster. I can probably shoot through that door, right? Yeah, I should probably stop that. I'll just write this down here. Prevent shooting through doors. They should stop bullets. Yeah, so the thing we're working on is when you get over to here, this door should open and you should be able to walk into the next room. And that doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Transition region is here. We fetch this. We do this. If it's... Oops. Okay, my bad. Yeah, and then as soon as you start walking through, we should probably disable your input or something. Walk through. We eventually just delete the door. All right, let's try that. Wait, that's not working anymore. Yep. Now let's speed our way over to here. Okay, some weird stuff happened. What was that? I'm not totally sure. Is this being called multiple times? Because it certainly looked like it. There's a lot of fading happening. Yeah, let's go take a look. All right, so it gets called once. Then it gets called again. And it's still in walked through door. This should only get invoked, though, in this case, which means we're probably creating another starter room somehow. But I said to take the basic room, didn't I? Oh, the basic room has a door in that same position. Well. Okay, so just set the player position back to 0, I guess. I guess we do that here while it's faded out. Player.position equals vector 2.0. This needs to be a proper position somewhere in the world. Let's try it again now. Sub game, not the full game. Been a while. If I remember correctly, you had a collection of games you were building. Yeah. So this is all for Stuck in a Broken tutorial. Sorry, I can show you the whole thing. Let me turn this down a bit. So if we go back to the title screen here, yeah, this is the name of the game. Stuck in a Broken tutorial. We don't have a lot here. But yeah, when you start, I don't know if you saw this before, but yeah, you're in a platformer. And yeah, it just looks like a normal game. And then you get to the broken part over here. So yeah, I don't know if you saw this, but yeah, we got a decent amount done. It's been a couple of months. I made all the music for this stuff. It's looking pretty good, sounding pretty good. So yeah, I haven't started sound design on the newest sub game. Yeah, so we got a lot of very silly elements in this game that I really love. One of them, this is one of my favorite ones, is if you try using the axe, actually just throws it and then gives you the ability to run now that you're not carrying a heavy axe. So this is how you move faster in this game. And you can never pick it up again. It just flies away from you if you try getting close. So a lot of the things that we can't do in other games because they're not realistic, like digging through a fence or digging through trees, we can just do in this game. You can just walk out of bounds if you want. And this is actually broken. This is not intentional. I gotta figure out why that's happening. I think that's just on the wrong layer. So yeah, eventually you go into town. I'll speed all this up. Ooh. Skip this, go over to here, get some strawberries. Go to the community center. Oh wait, we can't do that yet. Let's slow this down a little bit. Can't get in the door at 4x speed. All right, so anyway, yeah, you'll end up in this game, and this is where we're trying to get these transitions to work. But yeah, no sound design in here. All right, so it super messes up when you do this. I still got to figure out why this is happening. Yeah. Maybe I'll put a breakpoint in here and here. Investors are 100% okay with returning the IP of the engine. Oh, cool. Nice. Yeah. That's great. So what did the investors get from you? right, so we walk through the door. Then we walk through the door again. What scene is this in now? So get parent.name. Where's the name? Basic room. Yeah, how is this happening? We're considering that the player has walked through this door already? As soon as it's been added to the scene tree? But the player's position should be 0. I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand what's going on. In the basic room, the door is in exactly the same place as it was over here. So it's triggering that you're in this section, but it shouldn't because of the player being moved. Maybe we need to do this like one frame beforehand. I mean, I'll try it, but I don't know if that's correct. All right, does that fix it? Or big tech? Yeah. Well, that's good. This is a far cry from how you felt originally, which, I mean, look, this is kind of how these things play out most of the time. There's a coping period, and then there's the like, oh, it turns out everything's actually even better than I thought it was. But that doesn't always happen, but I'm glad it happened in this case. Yeah, what is going on? What is going on with this? We're triggering a door in the new scene. I still just don't understand how that's possible. Unless the door has the wrong position. Base room's door is at... No, it's at here. What am I missing? Yeah, what am I missing? Create a starter room. Maybe, did we create 2 starter rooms? If we did, then that would explain it. I don't know what's going on. There's one. No, there's just the one. Huh. Yeah, strange. The only way for this to even be possible, though, is that the player entered this. It only checks for... Well, okay, fine. Let's just put another breakpoint here. I want to figure out what it thinks the player position is. Because if it thinks it's 0, 0, which is what it should be, then something weird is happening. All right, so the first time it gets hit, it's going to be correct. Because that's us walking through this door. So here, it's going to be body.position. Yeah, so that's probably correct. But then it gets hit a second time, and now the position is 0, 0. So yeah, I don't understand how this is possible. Where does it think the transition region is? Position. I want the global position. Yeah, it's off in the middle of nowhere. How is this happening then? Huh. Wait, you're still sad about it? Okay. Yeah, yeah. Also, I don't say that in a like dismissive sense. It sounds like you're feeling better. You're excited about the upcoming trip. And you're able to work on the farming game still. Is it just the thought of I wanted the original endeavor to succeed? Because I understand it. I think that like any of these major endeavors, there are almost like two success metrics. The original idea succeeding, and then learning and growth. And I was kind of saying this before, but it's practically impossible to do something for a year and learn nothing. And I'm certain you learned a ton doing what you did. But and I know you weren't doing it for just a year, but yeah, like your learning and growth is probably way more than if you just stayed doing whatever you were doing before that. It feels unresolved. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I understand that. I get that. And maybe it has to do with something like this here. And this is, yeah, I felt the same way before. But now that I'm far enough away from a lot of those failed projects, failed in my mind, I look back at them fondly, thinking, man, I learned a ton. I got to try that. A nice experience. I'm not, so I won't say it. 12 a.m. thoughts. Well, also this is just bad. Like if you do somehow do something for a year and you don't learn anything, this is a sign that something is wrong. At the point of getting the engine to work better than anyone else expected. When would that happen? Poof, company died. Never got to release the game. Yeah, but now you do get to release the game, right? Here's the capital and returns guy. 1+1, Adam. Yeah, but think about it, Pressel. If you did that for a year and you didn't learn anything, it'd be 12:02 a.m., but a year from now. Make things because you want them to exist, not because you want other people to see them. Yeah, I think this is like purist thinking almost, or maybe virtuous thinking. I think in reality, it is a combination of these things. Like, I want to make this game that I'm making. And at the same time, I want to share this with the world. I do think it would be easier and more fun to never polish any of this. And I also think that that would make it a much, much worse product. That became a possibility like a month ago. Yeah. But your sadness is now, right? That's, I guess you're coming to terms with this is still a reality. Something that makes economic gain means you have to pump out cumulatively more content to share with the world. Yeah. Also need a balance in being able to live from it. The point is that something never seeing a release isn't necessarily bad. Oh yeah. I agree with that. Or seeing a release and not having it be a successful release. Like, I still think one of the most valuable things you can do as a game dev is release your first game. After that, you're much better equipped to tackle a potentially successful project. Now, if your first game is a success, then yeah, more power to you. But it goes to what I said here. Like, it's practically impossible to make a game and not be like, I learned a lot of things that I would do and wouldn't do in the future. I just don't see that happening. Yeah. Even if you make a game jam game, if that's your first game, like, you will almost certainly learn, here's what worked, here's what didn't work from my tiny experience there. And you might not be right about those things. Like, maybe your single sample size game is super successful and you're like, oh, I should make every game in 2 days. It's like, probably that's not the right thing to take from it. But yeah, you probably do have some on the nose learnings. 1000x better now than back then. Yeah. Might be going every second of every hour, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like if you have birth in another country, they could potentially be a citizen of that country. If you make this game while you're in Japan, you're pretty much like a Japanese game dev at that point. And it only counts where you release it. You hit the release button in Japan. Maximize your success. Okay, what is going on here? Because this thing is at the right position and the player's at the right position, but somehow we entered this node. And I don't get how that's possible. And part of me wonders too, like, what if we waited 2 frames? Would that fix this? I'm just going to do this. We're going to see what happens. Tax nightmares? Yeah, I think that'd be difficult. You'd probably just tax it as though you were in your original country the whole time. Because I think where you release the product from by hitting the release button doesn't probably matter as much as where you have customers. No, this is still, I don't get this. I don't understand what's happening. What is the global position of this thing? Embody.global position. How do these things collide? There's something else going on that I'm not understanding. That's what's got to be happening. So if I just never make the next room, how does this work? It should just fade back in and we should be seeing a gray screen. Oh, also I messed this up. This should have been done over here. Wait, was that the problem? No, that shouldn't have been the problem. All right, that's good. What? This get hit twice? Oh, wait. Oh, this would get hit multiple times, but it wouldn't get to here multiple times. That's not possible. So now what's going on? Oh, I think I modified some code as it was running and it couldn't change it. All right, let's just try this again. Now we're not even in a room anymore. Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely coming from here. I just don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand. What if we set this over here? Let me just see, because this could be a race condition. It could be that I don't understand how tween callback works. Oh yeah, maybe these are all synchronous. Yeah, that would make a lot more sense. Yes. Okay. Well, that answered that question. So we can just keep going through this room and oh no, we can't because we died. But I can just get a bunch of power-ups and then we'll never die. Oh, those didn't come back. Okay, it's only when you restart the game. Kill them, kill them. All right, well now we'll get even more power-ups. That'll show them. There. Yeah. Try and stop me now. Huh? Huh? What are you gonna do? There are not that many enemies, so actually we should die so that we can get more power-ups. All right, just get some more of these things. Now we're shooting pretty quickly. And we probably kill enemies in one hit now. Nope, 2 hits? Yeah, 2 hits. And our luck is probably high enough to get potions a decent amount of the time. Yeah, we do need bullets to not just go on forever. All right, let's go through the door again. Actually, let's die now. How much defense do we have? Oh, we have too much defense. We can't die. Yeah, the monsters can't damage me anymore. This is intended to happen eventually. But we got to figure out what the balance is. Like, when should this happen? I wonder if we're moving at maximum speed. Because I set it to 150 pixels per second. But yeah, since we have no way of dying, the only way to get items anymore is to kill enemies. And the only way to do that is to go painstakingly through all these different doors. And I think our luck stat is low enough where we'll get like 1 potion per room at best. I need to get 1 there. Oh yeah, bullets stay on the screen. We got to get rid of those too. But yeah, this is looking pretty good. Huh. I want to find 1 potion. I'm not doing this for any other reason than I just want to see it drop. Come on. Can't be that rare. The baseline percentage is 5. I'm going to do 1 more room. Then that's it. We're calling it. Give me a potion. Oh, it's gonna happen. It didn't happen. All right, we're done. All right, sounds good, filler. Well, it wasn't just 5% because we got a bunch of luck potions, right? So it should have been more like 10%, which granted is still not a lot, but more than nothing. Okay, so yeah, this did not work the way that I thought it did originally. This is fine though. So now all we have to do is a tween.tween callback here, and then a tween.tween interval 0.1f. Pretty much just wait for the position to take effect. In fact, actually, we should guarantee that it took effect. I think this will guarantee it, because I think even if you set an interval of 0 seconds, it's going to wait for the last callback to have worked, which will be at least 1 frame. We can just test it. Some more hours than I care to admit trying to get a potion to drop. Well, I know for sure that it works because we saw one drop earlier. I just didn't see one drop once I wanted another one too. All right, so now we're just testing going through this door. It should work. Yeah, good. Excellent, 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 excellent. Okay, so what time is it? And how are we doing on overall time in the day? All right, we're pretty good. I think I want to connect the different spawn points in the room. So base room is going to have a node 2D, which is player spawn position. And we're going to just put this anywhere. It doesn't matter. But then in the nodes themselves, so here the player should probably spawn like right there. Yeah, that looks good. And in the basic room, they should probably spawn. Whoops. Should probably spawn. It should probably be centered. I'm just going to approximate it. That's good enough. All right, now we go use that. So base room has the player spawn position. Oh, we need to do this as soon as the room is created though. So whatever I was doing over here is not a good idea. We make the next room. But, well, I guess we could set it here and then set it in the room. You won't be able to see because it'll have faded out. Yeah. All right, so where do we initialize the player? There they are. So we'll just do node 2D spawn player spawn equals get node. See, this is something, it doesn't matter. All right, it's not called player spawn, though. It's player spawn position. I want that autocomplete to be faster. So player.global position equals player spawn.global position. So now it won't look like you're in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, so you start here, you go through the door. You should start on the left side of this world now. Yep. These potions won't be there. This door won't be there. We probably need a like a closed door that you can put into scenes. Ooh, did that just go through twice? What happened there? Hold on a second. And do monsters still chase you while you're transitioning? Yeah, something weird happened with a transition there. I think we need there to be something in the canvas layer of the game overall that we fade in and out. Yeah, I think we need that. I think the farming game had one. Yeah, screen fade. Here it is. Let's just copy paste this over here. All right. What is that? A color rectangle? Yeah. That doesn't really matter what it is. Does it? No, I don't think it matters what it is. Screen fade. Okay. So now instead of fading this in and out, we're going to do this on the screen fade. And that should look a little better. It'll also go to black instead of going to white. I can full screen this. Well, that didn't work. Yeah, no, that didn't work. Screen fade. Here it is. Yeah, fade screen. Got to tween the self-modulate of this. Yeah. I think that we should make a reusable component out of this. Do I do this anywhere else in the game? Make a screen fade. Farming game does it. Main does it. But the platformer doesn't. How did we do it in the platformer? Or did we just call it something else? Platformer game has nothing interesting there. Base platformer game has nothing interesting there. I guess main was responsible for doing this. Yeah. So then why even have one in the farming game? Probably for transitioning between zones. Yeah. Stargate warp effect. I think I do need to do some different screen transitions from what I'm doing. Like, what was it? The original Final Fantasy 1 battle transition? Something like this we're going to have to probably do in one of these games. Well, I can't find the exact thing. This is maybe it, but I don't remember it looking like that on Nintendo at least. Final Fantasy 9 Battle Swirl. Huh. Kind of surprised it doesn't even have more results. Let me click this button at the bottom. Huh. Yeah, strange. Okay, so I want do I want to create the controller every time? Not really. I want to just point at a control and have it operate on this. And we'll just set whatever properties we need for this. Yeah. Is it the swirl? Yeah, it might be. I think Pokemon did something too. I don't recall what. But yeah, a lot of those old RPGs had like a way of entering a battle that was kind of an iconic separation from the overworld. All right. So farming game, fade screen, and main presumably has one of these. Fade from black. Yeah, here it is. Tween color, duration. Yeah, and this is we can put it on a color rectangle. No, I think we should have some sort of function somewhere. Okay. Modify via code to do what you want. Huh. I didn't know about that. Yeah. All right, so this is done. The transitions are pretty much working. So I want to make a reusable screen fade component. Farming game and main both have one. I want top-down shooter to have one too. Yeah. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. I need to fix the fading, of course, but I'm kind of happy. This is like 3 days of work. It's not too bad. We got movement, we got shooting, we got all these power-ups. The power-ups are all functional. For those who hadn't seen, the gimmick of this game is that we don't ever tell you that the power-ups are permanent. In fact, we tell you the opposite. When you die, you come back and it'll have text on the screen saying, yeah, those power-ups are temporary, so you just got to get good. So when you do go into this sort of scene and you're doing more damage to the enemies, like you might not realize it at first. Or maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you're like, oh, I guess I should be collecting all those power ups. But once you do realize, like, wait a second, this is getting easier, then yeah, I think then we let you play out the power fantasy of like blasting 400 enemies at a time with bullets. So these rooms need to get pretty crazy at some point. But yeah, feeling more like a game. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll look into this. Wait, how do you use this? Is this an add-on? CC0. Godot shaders. Yeah, interesting. All right, where did I just write this down though? Ah, here it is. Maybe use this. Just put on a color rect and you're good to go. Yeah. If I like that, write a note about it. Yeah, I think it's a good suggestion. I want to give you a point for that. Okay, let me fill out the journal. I think tomorrow is going to be a music day, so we will try composing some music for the top-down shooter. I had one basic idea already, so we're going to mostly just noodle around and try to figure something out. So worked on the top-down shooter, got basic world transitions, or like room transitions working. Finished getting power-ups to work. What else did we do? God, I just sometimes I don't feel like I spend an entire day working on stuff. Oh, we also merged that PR from earlier. I don't know. Sometimes I think it's worth looking through the Git log. 10. Loading text. Yeah, I guess it just doesn't feel like it's a super productive day. Did I get stuck on something? I know I got stuck on some smallish problems. Huh. I guess I was not super productive. Well, still, game's coming along. So like I said, tomorrow's probably going to be music, but when I think of how much more work we have to do for the basic game design of this, it's actually not terribly much. Like we have the power-ups, we have shooting stuff, we can get different enemy types and whatever else. We have a lot of polish level work to do for this. So yeah, there are lots of ways we can make this better. And then there are things like adding in sound design. Yeah. But yeah, this is feeling pretty good. I wonder if we should make all of the rooms at least as wide as the screen, so you're not seeing the clear area here. Also, actually, I want to go back to that. This is how these doors open up. They should be connected to walls at some point. All right. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go find someone to raid. I think it's been a pretty decent day. Okay, Maya's streaming. I don't usually get to raid Maya. Let us go raid Maya. All right. Thank you all for being here. I'll be back tomorrow. It'll just be a half day. We're going to be doing music. So if music's not your jam, I totally understand. Plus, it's not like I'm an expert. So we're going to be tinkering around on piano and trying to do some improv and come up with a tune for the top-down shooter. So yeah, cheers. Bye, everybody. Good to see you.